There is a very specific kind of silence that arrives on Christmas when you're alone, and it's not dramatic, not loud, not even immediately painful. It doesn't crash into you. It settles. It exists in what's missing. No overlapping conversations in another room. No background laughter leaking through walls. No sound of people moving around each other in a kitchen that's too full. Just the quiet awareness that a day built entirely around togetherness is unfolding with only you inside it. And maybe this isn't hypothetical. Maybe this is you. Or maybe it's someone you know, someone who quietly moves through December 25th without the gathering, without the ritual, without the people the world assumes everyone has somewhere. And most people, when they hear that someone spends Christmas alone, immediately jump to a conclusion. Something must be wrong. Something must have failed. They imagine loneliness, isolation, rejection, or broken relationships. But psychology tells a much more layered story than that. Because people don't spend Christmas alone for one single reason. Some choose it. Some endure it. Some land there through circumstances they didn't plan. And many live in the uncomfortable space in between, where solitude feels like relief and weight at the same time, where being alone feels calmer than being surrounded, but still carries a quiet ache that's hard to explain. What makes people uncomfortable is this truth. Spending Christmas alone does not automatically mean suffering. For some people, it means finally not having to pretend, not having to perform joy they don't feel, not having to navigate family dynamics that exhaust them, not having to act grateful for traditions that never felt safe, warm, or meaningful in the first place. Many people who choose solitude on Christmas tried the traditional version first. They showed up, they smiled, they exchanged gifts, they sat at tables where conversation felt forced and tension lived just under the surface. And each time, they learned something important. That being surrounded by people while feeling emotionally disconnected is far lonelier than being physically alone. Psychologically, this matters. The brain experiences forced celebration as stress. When your external behavior doesn't match your internal emotional state, your nervous system registers conflict. This is called emotional incongruence, and it creates more strain than opting out entirely. Pretending to feel joy when you don't, pretending gratitude when you feel resentment, pretending connection when you feel detached, all of that taxes the nervous system. The human brain is wired for authenticity. It seeks alignment between what you feel and what you express. And when Christmas becomes a prolonged performance instead of a genuine experience, opting out can actually feel healthier. That's why some people say something that shocks others. I'm actually happier alone. Not because they hate connection, but because honesty feels safer than pretending. But here's where it becomes complicated. Even people who prefer being alone on Christmas still feel the cultural weight of that choice. They're aware that being alone signals something to the outside world, that it invites judgment, concern, pity, or assumptions about failure. And holding both relief and stigma at the same time creates emotional tension that people with traditional celebrations never have to carry. You can genuinely prefer solitude and still feel the sting of existing outside the norm. You cannot want to attend a family gathering and still wish you had a family gathering you wanted to attend. Those truths can coexist, and psychology allows for that contradiction even when society doesn't. And for many people, being alone isn't a preference at all. It's circumstance, distance, estrangement, loss, a life stage where old connections dissolved and new ones haven't formed yet. Sometimes it's simply the math of life. No partner, no nearby family, friends with their own obligations. And then the calendar flips to a day designed around assumptions your life doesn't currently meet. At first, people try to fix it. They look for invitations. They volunteer. They try to manufacture meaning. Then they try reframing it. Maybe this is good for me, then acceptance. Maybe it's just another day. And over time, Christmas alone becomes familiar, not painless but known. This is what it looks like for me. But familiarity doesn't make it neutral. There's always the awareness that the world has paused for a collective ritual you're not participating in, that the silence you're experiencing is different from solitude on any other day. Because Christmas isn't just a day, it's a symbol, and being outside a symbol carries psychological weight. This is called deviation from social norm awareness. Humans are wired to notice when they fall outside group behavior, especially around ritual events. From childhood, we're taught that Christmas equals family, belonging, love made visible. So when reality doesn't match that template, the mind asks uncomfortable questions. What does this say about my life? Am I okay with this? Or have I just learned to tolerate it? Is this choice or is this loss? Those questions aren't shallow, they're existential. They're not about Christmas, they're about belonging. And often the hardest part isn't the day itself. It's the month leading up to it. December is a constant reminder. Every conversation, every song, every commercial, every social media post reinforces the same message. Together, together, together. And when you're alone, that repetition becomes heavy. The anticipation becomes more painful than the day. For many people, December 25th is quiet but manageable. It's the buildup that hurts, the expectation, the comparison, the constant reminder that your experience doesn't match the story being told everywhere else. People assume spending Christmas alone means having no relationships. Often, that's not true. It means having relationships that don't translate into holiday structure. People who care about you but are elsewhere. People who are taken up by other obligations. The aloneness reflects the format of the holiday, not the value of your life. As children, many of us formed emotional templates around Christmas. What it should feel like, who should be there. Those templates don't disappear. And when adult reality doesn't match them, there's grief. Even when the present is chosen, even when it's peaceful. Grief doesn't require regret. It only requires difference. Some years, Christmas alone feels manageable. Other years, it feels heavy. It shifts with life, with loss, with loneliness already present. And many people quietly wonder if they're doing something wrong, if others figured out something they didn't, if this alone-ness means they failed at something fundamental. That self-questioning is often more painful than the solitude itself. Solitude is empty time. Self-judgment is identity-level pain. Psychologically, people who spend Christmas alone are navigating ambiguous loss. A loss that doesn't fit clean categories. Not dramatic enough for sympathy. Not neutral enough to ignore. It exists in a space where pain is real but not validated, where preference and loss coexist. And yet, there is one unexpected truth. Spending Christmas alone can bring clarity. When the performance disappears, you see what actually exists, who reaches out, what you truly miss, what you don't. That clarity can hurt. It can also guide future choices that are more aligned, more honest, more real. The psychology of people who spend Christmas alone isn't about loneliness versus contentment. It's about navigating the gap between cultural expectation and personal reality, between what the day is supposed to mean and what it actually feels like in silence. And maybe the most important thing to understand is this. Most people spending Christmas alone aren't refusing joy. They're refusing to pretend to feel it. They're not rejecting connection. They're acknowledging that the specific form of connection this day demands isn't available to them right now. That reality isn't tragic. It isn't noble. It's human, quiet, complex, real, and it deserves to exist without judgment. Because sometimes Christmas doesn't look like a gathering. Sometimes it looks like a quiet room, a slower day, and a person doing the best they can with the life they actually have.